imagery of spring and of love. Evening of roses, let us go out to the grove. Myrrh, spices, and frankincense is the carpet under your feet. Night falls slowly, and a wind of roses blows. Let me whisper a song for you slowly, a song of love. Dawn and the dove coos. Your hair is full of dewdrops. Your lips are like roses. And to the morning, I will pick them for myself. The song was composed by Yosef Hadar with lyrics by Moshe Dor. You will hear why it became such a hit in Israel several decades ago and continues to be beloved by so many today.
Jonah, it's a pleasure to ask you to bring your parents up. Come on. Jonah, Eli. I've only made that mistake 5 times this week. I'm so sorry. Eli. That's why God invented Yom Kippur, for people like me. And the rest of the family, come on up. Come on up. Oh, Jonah, I'm so sorry.
That one's Jonah.
I know. It's our custom, if you were able to please rise for candles and Kiddush as you were able. It's in the prayer book on page 2 and 3 in your prayer book.
source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter the sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Eli, I'm never going to live it down.
Right.
If you turn the page, we're getting ready for Kiddush. Kiddush is on page 5 of your prayer book.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ava uvratzon yinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh bereshit, ki hu yom tehila lemikrai kodesh, zecher siyat Mitzrayim, ki vanu bacharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim, ve'shabbat kodecha be'ahava uvratzon impaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
Amen.
Amen.
It's just juice. Have a drink. There you go. Find a seat, everyone. Eli, excellent. See you in a couple minutes, okay? Emily. Jonah.
Thank you.
If you'll turn in your books to the bottom of page 6, there's a responsive reading we are going to offer to kind of get in the mood for the community we hope to create and that we actually have every single day. We read responsively at the bottom of the page. May the door of the synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. Together.
May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture.
May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity.
May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet.
May it be too high to make complacency, selfishness, and harshness.
May this synagogue be for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life.
So turn ahead a couple of pages. On page 12, you'll find the beginning of the traditional Kabbalat Shabbat. We're going to begin with the first psalm called Lechu Niranana. It's a traditional tune. If you know it, feel free to join in.
Lechu niranena l'Adonai, nari'a letzur yishenu, nikadma fanav b'todah, bizmirot nari'a lo, nikadma fanav b'todah, bizmirot nari'a lo. El Gadol Adonai hu melech gadol al kol Elohim asher beyado mekirei haaretz v'to'afot harim lo asher beyado mekirei haaretz v'to'afot harim lo.
The most famous of songs for Kabbalat Shabbat is, of course, L'Chadodi, which you'll find on page 20 and 21. We do a rousing tune around here. We do verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And At the last verse, we'll ask everyone to rise and face the rear when we say the beautiful words at the end of the last verse. Boi kala, we'll bow to here, and maybe the bride will come in that doorway, or maybe from the alley. We don't know where the bride's going to come in this week. Anyway, it goes like this. Laila lecha dodi, Laila likrat kala, Laila penei Shabbat, penei Shabbat dekavela, Laila lecha dodi, Laila likrat kala, Laila penei Shabbat, penei Shabbat dekavela. Shamor v'zachu b'dibur echad Yishmianu el ha'meyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shemu tiferet v'litiha Laila lecha dodi Laila likrat kala Laila penei Shabbat penei Shabbat nekavela Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelchaki mikor ha'beracha Merosh mikedem nesu chasov maaseh v'machshavat tchila Laila lecha dodi Laila likrat kala Laila penei Shabbat nekavela Hitoreri kiva ore kubi uri shir daberi kevod Adonai alayich nikla Laila lecha dodi Laila Please rise and face the rear.
Laila penei Shabbat
Verse 9.
penei Shabbat
A little bit slower now.
Boi v'shalom ateret balagan b'simcha u'b'tzohala toch emunei am segula
We bow to the left and to the right.
Boi chala Laila lecha dodi Laila likrat kala Laila penei Shabbat penei Shabbat nekavela Laila lecha dodi Laila likrat kala Laila penei Shabbat penei Shabbat nekavela.
Turn the page and we find Mizmor Shir Yom HaShabbat, the psalm for the Sabbath day. We read in English up to the indent, and then we'll sing the beautiful Tzaddik Katamar at the bottom in Hebrew. Together in English.
A psalm for Shabbat. It is good to praise Adonai, to sing hymns to your name, O Most High, to proclaim your steadfast love at daybreak, your faithfulness each night. With a 10-stringed harp, with voice and lyre together, you have gladdened me by your deeds, Adonai. I shout for joy at your handiwork. How great are your works, Adonai! How very subtle your designs! A brute cannot know, a fool cannot understand this.
Tzaddik Katamar Yifra Ke'erez Balvanon Yizkeh Shetulim Beveit Adonai Bechatzrot Eloheinu Yafrichu Odinu Vun Beseva T'Shenim V'Rananim Yiyu L'Chagi Ki Yashar Adonai Tzuri V'lo This next tune is even older than that. That one's only 150 years old. This is at least 300 years old, I think. Even though it was written by somebody, but Everybody says this is the tune they know for Shalom Aleichem, to greet the angels of Shabbat. If you grew up with this, please sing along.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharei, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, V'achem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seichem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
As you are able, please rise for the Chatzi Kaddish before the Baruch Hu, the call to worship.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shem Rabba, Y'alemad yivrach chirutei v'yamelich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, bagala uv'izman kariv yimeru, amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba mevorach, Yolem le'al me'al mayam, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitbar v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, Shemei d'Kudesha, B'reichu li'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata, Damiron v'yalma v'yimeru, Amen.
Page 28.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Now us.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Turn the page. And if you look, what is it, 8 lines down, 9 lines down, it's the one right after the really long word in Hebrew. Borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or. We'll sing roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night.
Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to
That's
night.
all it is.
Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Hooray, Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim.
On page 33, we join together in the middle of the page. Wisdom and wonder,
Passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us, and the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated. We continue on page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם נאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
On the facing page, we join together in English. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate.
They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God. Adonai Elohechem Emet.
Page 39. We join together at the top of the page. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot.
That wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt. That there is a better place, a promised land. That the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness. That there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
We sing a song of hope and of freedom on page 40.
1, 2, 3. Again.
Mother בחוטך ראו בניך, חוקי היום לפני משה ומרים, זה אלי אנו ואמרו, אנו ואמרו,
Adonai,
אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
Yalla la. Let's everybody sing.
Lai, 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 la, lai, la, 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 lai. Lai, 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 la, lai, la, 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 lai. Lai, lai, la, lai, la, lai, la, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. ונאמר, כי פד אדוני את יעקב, וגאלתו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Amen. He's staying here. He has more to do.
But before we get to the next thing that you are going to do, we're going to sing a prayer of gratitude, of hope for protection throughout the night through dangerous times. And we're going to mix the words that are on page 42 with the words at the top of page 43. We'll start on page 43 and then move over onto the right side of the page.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, Leshalom.
The left side of the page. Let there be love. We all want that. And understanding among us.
We're going to take it to the next
Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Again. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life. Hashkivenu this time.
We're going to do Let There Be
Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, Leshalom.
Last time, let there be love.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. We continue with a song to celebrate Shabbat V'Shamru, and Eli is going to be leading us in this as well.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית
Asa Adonai, Asa Adonai, et hashamayim ve'et This is our part. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat Lasot et hashabat V'dorotam berit olam
Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat v'inavash Shabbat v'inavash Shabbat v'inavash.
Last time, everyone. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat Lasot et hashabat V'dorotam berit olam. Yesher koach. It's so wonderful to have you playing and singing at the same time and adding so much, a newer voice, a newer instrument, and we look forward to you doing this with us tomorrow. Now, you're not going anywhere. You get your first present. It's your part. Come on, stand here. It's our fashion time. It's modeling time. This is our party shirt. There we go. Party stands for Pittsburgh Area Reformed Temple Youth, and we hope that even though you are so involved in all of the activities of Community Day and throughout the community, that we hope that you will take some time to be part of our teen youth group as well through 12th grade. You know, it's nice, elegant letters there, nice big letters over here. It shrinks, obviously, but it's a good sleep shirt, it's a good wearing shirt, and it's the first of your presents. And here's the other present. You don't have to write a thank you note for it, okay? So we're going to see more of you tomorrow. Right?
Yeah.
Very good. Now you can go back. You can sit on your sister.
We turn now to the central prayers of our service, the Amidah, which begins on page 46. Please rise as you are able.
This is a newer tune for Adonai Sfatai we've been introducing.
Sfatai tiftach Ananana ufi agid tehila techa Ananana Adonai Ananana Sfatai tiftach Ananana ufi agid tehila techa Ufi agid tehila techa.
Turn the page.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Omel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei HaKol V'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem Leman Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham V'Ezrat Sarah.
Turn the page again.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים. ומקיים אמונתו ישני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומדום מלך מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים כל יום יהללוך סלה ברוך אתה
very bottom of page 55, some words from Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel about the meaning of Shabbat. The meaning of Shabbat is to celebrate time rather than space. 6 days a week, we live under the tyranny of things in space. On Shabbat, we try to become attuned to holiness in time. It is a day on which we are called upon to share in what is eternal in time, to turn from the results of creation to the mystery of creation, from the world of creation to the creation of the world. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Together on page 57. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance, and let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. Page 59, we join together at the top of the page, a blessing of gratitude. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. And for all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimecha ulecha na'eh lehodot. We continue with a song for peace, page 60.
Join me if you know it.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tazim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tazim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tazim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tazim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amecha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tazim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tazim Leolam. Tazim Leolam. Tazim Leolam. Baruch atah Adonai, hamevarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. We take a few moments now to offer the prayers of our hearts in silence.
I'm going to ask Rabbi Gorban to join me down here. I'm going to stand in front of this part of the congregation. She's going to stand in front of the other. Cantor Berman, you have to choose sides. I don't know which side you're going to choose. This O Says Shalom was written by Debbie Friedman a long time ago. It's on page 62. And it's a round, so you have work to do. When we do have kids here, we usually grade the kids' performance, but we're not doing that tonight because it's Shabbat. It's a judgment-free zone. And we'll sing the whole thing together the first time, and then we're singing the first part, and then they'll join in, and we'll see how well the round goes. And you have more singers, more spread out. I think you have a distinct advantage. You have the entire choir, for God's sake. Here we go. Like this. Ose Shalom Bimromav Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Israel Ve'yimeru Amen.
Now you're moving.
Ose Shalom Bimromav Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Israel Ve'yimeru Amen. A little faster now. Ose Shalom Bimromav Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Israel Ve'yimeru Amen. Middle part. Ose Shalom Bimromav Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Israel Ve'yimeru. Everybody on the second part. Ose Shalom Bimromav Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Israel Ve'yimeru Amen. Ve'yimeru Amen. If you'll turn in your books to page 253, that's not bracketed. There's a Mishaberach of healing, and it's our custom to offer Mishaberach every time we gather. There are so many who we carry in our hearts who couldn't even be here tonight. There are people in hospitals and terrified about what might happen in just the next day or two. There are people in nursing homes facing a long weekend without even one visitor. And there are people who simply walk the earth with a stone in the heart or face the daily battles of sobriety. And we want to call them to mind. We do this in three ways. You can simply hold on to that name in your heart as the song is sung, as this prayer is sung. You might choose to say the name quietly and put it into the collective heart of the congregation, because you know that our collective prayer may motivate us to visit or heal with our own actions. Or you might let it wash over you and just respond to Amen at the end of each of our verses. As I look at your part of the congregation, please, if there is a name that you want in our collective heart tonight, please say the name out loud. If you're using the Hebrew name, it's that name, son or daughter of the mother. Healing is in the name of mothers in Jewish tradition. And for God's sake, it's spring break. Don't raise your hand, okay? Ephraim ben Rachel, Tom ben Sarah.
blessing, and let us say, Amen. Ishevera imotenu, mikor abracha liavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
You'll lead that with me too. You want to bring the choir up?
You were going to do one of the blessings first.
Art, Renee, come on up here. Art and Renee are celebrating Passover this year by getting married the night beforehand. So you're going to stand over here. Come on up the staircase. This one over here. Both of you face me, hold hands like you like each other. Okay, Simon says 2 more steps. 1, 2. Makora Shalom, Ruach HaHava, source of peace and spirit of love. Renee and Art stand here in a moment of wonder, of a feeling they did not know they would recapture. We say in our tradition, Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem, renew our days as of old. And to renew the feeling of love and tenderness and affection is a blessing that sometimes escapes us and never comes back. They have found it in each other's interlaced fingers at this moment. And as I stand here in their profound and deep love for each other, between the spirit of Torah on their right and the congregation on their left, they feel an embrace of the Torah, the community, and God above. May they remember as they enter into the excitement of wedding ceremonies and stomping on glasses and wonderful meals and then going right on to Seder, this moment of quiet, joy, tenderness, and blessing. May they be blessed throughout their entire lives, even as they're blessed at this moment. May God bless you and keep you. May God cause God's light to shine on you, be gracious to you. May God lift up God's presence to you and grant you wholeness and joy, fulfillment, love, affection, support, and most of all, peace with each other as together we say, Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lahazman hazeh. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, ruler of all, who has caused us to live, sustained us, and allowed us to reach this happy time with you. As together we say, Amen. Say Mazel Tov. Thank you. You got a kiss.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not a handshaking instead of a kiss kind of guy. You know. Oh, she gets a kiss too. Come on.
The Song of Songs by Solomon, Oh, give me the kisses of your mouth, for your love is more delightful than wine. Draw me after you, let us run. Traditionally during Pesach and in some places every Shabbat, Jewish communities worldwide share the chanting of our sacred text, the Song of Songs. In Hebrew, Shir HaShirim. The book is an imagery-filled collection of sensual love poetry, occasional monologue, and a dialogue between two lovers, exquisitely draped by the background of budding nature. Pesach, after all, is known as Chag HaAviv, the spring festival. It celebrates not only the birth of the Jewish people, but indeed it celebrates the rebirth of all of nature. Pesach's Megillah, its sacred scroll, expresses recognition that the forces in the physical environment that create such dramatic changes have a divine source, perhaps the source of love itself. The poetry from the Song of Songs is said to include some of the most exceptional in our Bible. Voice of my lover, and behold, he comes, leaping on the mountains, skipping on the valleys. Listen for the liveliness and the exuberance of the lovers reflected in this traditional melody as the choir sings, Kol Dodi, voice of my beloved.
The ancient rabbis interpreted the text of the Shir HaShirim with a metaphoric and spiritual bent, suggesting that it expresses the great love of God for the Jewish people. They cited that Israel is depicted as the bride and God as the bridegroom. Many contemporary commentators find the apparent original context of the Song of Songs to be most compelling, that it is a story of profound love between a young woman and man. It may not be necessary to choose between these two possibilities. Both reflect a sacred relationship, a covenantal relationship. Jewish tradition evokes this covenantal relationship, this Brit, each time we welcome Shabbat. We declare in Vishamru that Shabbat is a Brit Olam, an eternal covenant between God and the Jewish people. So, as love poetry describing this relationship and personal covenantal relationships, Shir HaShirim is included by some Jewish communities in the Friday evening Kabbalat Shabbat liturgy.
Chapter 2, verses 10 and 11 speak of a beloved saying, "Arise, my darling, my fair one, come away. For now the winter is past, the rains are over and gone. The blossoms have appeared in the land. The song of the turtle dove is heard in our land." Clearly, these words describe a spring awakening, a time when winter rains which have enriched Israel's landscape, have given way to the blossoming of spring. We share with you Banya Shur's setting of these verses in English and in Hebrew. Listen for the sense of wonder that the composer uses to marry music of the words and of the text.
Shir HaShirim's reading on Pesach may be a reflection of spring, the reawakening of the earth, and a time of coming together that is reflected in nature. As we prepare to celebrate Passover, a time when we recall what some contemporary rabbis call the formative relationship between God and the Jewish people, we prepare to celebrate the reawakening of the earth, as well as a personal reminder of the power of love between humans and between human and God. These rabbis possess, perhaps it should be read every day, a little at a time, so that as we grow in our understanding of the text, our relationship with God grows as well. We hope you experience this marriage of prose, poetry, and song as our act of love for God, for Shabbat, and for the sacred congregation as we leave you with the words of Dodi Lee, taken from various chapters of the Song of Songs and set by Debbie Friedman. My beloved is mine, and I am his, the shepherd grazing his flock among the lilies. Who is this, rising up from the desert? Who is she, rising up, perfumed with myrrh and frankincense? Myrrh and frankincense. My beloved is mine, and I am his, the shepherd grazing his flock among the lilies. Awaken, north wind, and come, south wind. My beloved is mine, and I am his, the shepherd grazing his flock among the lilies. You have captured my heart, my sister, my bride. You have captured my heart, my bride. My beloved is mine, and I am his, the shepherd grazing his flock among the lilies.
Say Toda Rabah. We're not done. Here we go.
As we thank and wish you all a Zissen Pesach, a sweet Pesach, we thank that mystery and divinity we call God for all of nature, even for Wednesday's snow, for Shabbat, and for all of our sacred relationships. May you rejoice in them all. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Now say Toda Rabah. You may know, some of you do, that every one of our major holidays and some of our minor holidays, we read one of the 5 scrolls of the Ketuvim from the books of the writings. And the cycle starts at Pesach with the Song of Songs. And 7 weeks later, we read the book of Ruth at Shavuot. In the middle of summer, we read the book Echa, or Lamentations, for the destruction of the temple at Tisha B'Av. In the fall, we read Ecclesiastes for Sukkot. And then in the spring, we read, of course, Esther for Purim. But the love songs are the ones that touch our heart in the spring. So I'd like to invite, where's Mimi Botkin? You went down, there you go. I'd like Rabbi Gorban and Canterbury to stand behind me, please. I'd like you to stand right here.
I know I'm going to cry.
That's all right. It's birthday time, and we have a whole box. We'll make more. Hi, dear.
Hi, sweetheart.
Eloheinu ve'Eloheinu, v'imotenu, our God and God of our fathers and God of our mothers. You are the person who's not afraid to say your age.
70.
You are not a person. That was not scripted, I want you to know.
I'm not scooped.
In Hebrew, every letter has a numerical value. And if you add up 50 and 20, the word is ken, which means yes. You were a woman who said yes to virtually everything that's happened in your life. Said yes to love in your teens. You said yes to your daughters as they've gone off into their lives. You said yes to your grandson every time you wrap him in your arms. You said yes to the thousands of students that you've taught and elevated in thought and love of literature and love of language. You've lifted us with the yes of your singing, of your soul, of all the gifts of your heart. And we are richer for the gifts that you have given. It is so strange to stand here and offer a blessing because you are a living blessing. You are the very essence of a bracha. The bracha continues after 70. It's not an end, simply another door that opens. May you continue to say ken, yes, 70, all this year, and we'll find other words for other years that really mark the values that you've lived your life by, that have been a model for everybody that you have touched, and as you lead yourself into parts that you yourself do not know, may you not be afraid over the next decade to say ken, to say yes, to bless and be blessed, even as you're blessed at this moment. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, may God bless you and keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka, may the light of God shine upon you and may God be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God bless you and keep you. May God lift up God's presence to you and be gracious to you. May God lift up all that God has for you in this life and grant you wholeness, joy, blessing, and peace. As together we all say,
Amen.
Amen. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mimi. Happy birthday to you. Mazel tov.
Thank you, sweetie, for everything.
A few brief announcements before we go on to our concluding prayers on our Oneg Shabbat. We want to thank our greeter tonight. It was Mike Gordon. Tomorrow, Marcia and Jim Kaplan are our greeters. Our cantorial program is underwritten by a generous ongoing grant from Edgar Snyder. We're so grateful for his support for Jewish music at Temple Sinai. I'm sorry to say that so many of the regulars of the adult Shabbaton from the Minyan cannot make it, so we are not going out to Conakry this year. We're going to delay it to the fall. Watch for the notice. Now, tomorrow there's Torah study at 8:30 in the morning up in the Lockhart Lounge led by Rabbi Gorban. The regular Minyan is at 9:15 upstairs. 10:30, Eli, you and guitar and family. How many of you here for the bar mitzvah? Raise your hand. Oh my gosh, half the congregation. What's the farthest anybody has traveled? How many time zones? It's almost breakfast time, right? 3 hours, right? So we're delighted you're here, and we're going to have such fun with him tomorrow, playing and singing just the way he did and led us tonight. It's going to be wonderful. Now, I have to say something that gives me a little bit of pause. Many things happen in our community and the life of our society and our country that are challenging to us, and we want to make our voice heard. We want to join protest movements and marches and things like that. And yet, as a rabbi, it's virtually impossible for me to say, go break Shabbos and go downtown for the March for the Living, March of the Living. Go to Washington. We're going to have a bar mitzvah, right? If you are not coming to services tomorrow, and you decided you wanted to go to Rosh Shalom and get in the carpools or take a bus, this rabbi would go, oh, I see nothing. Until I saw you later on the news after Shabbat. The time has come for people who have been silent to be silent no more. Whether you go to Washington, whether you're part of the protest here, and believe it or not, your own prayers can be a form of protest against what is going on. You can pray in Shabbat and still have your heart lifted up against what is going on in our country that threatens us all and our well-being. So please, if you are going downtown, travel safely. You don't have to bundle up anymore. If you're coming to Shabbat services, our Minyan service will end by 11. You can still make it. So if you are going to the bar mitzvah, we're going to have fun together, aren't we? Okay? So if you have room at your Seder, if you're a Pittsburgher, will you please let Judy Mahan know she's here tonight? She's actually in the booth right there. and she'll be at the Oneg too. Let her know, because we have people who need places for Seder. Instead of doing a community Seder, we like to have people at home Seders, because that's where we think that Seder is best observed. There is no Friday night service next week. You know why? It's Seder. The last time Passover was on a Friday night, I tried to have a service here. I was nearly drawn and quartered, because women said, you took away my schlepper, and guys said, I can't possibly do it. And yes, and there were women schleppers too, but it was not a good idea. So there is no service next Friday night. The following week, we're reading a double Kaddish list to make sure that everybody's name gets read at the proper time, even though we're not having that. So, and then the very next day, next Saturday, 10 o'clock, our friends from Rodo Shalom are coming up here. We're going to be upstairs in the chapel. We're going to have a Shabbat and holiday service at 10 o'clock. The following Friday, there is the seventh-day Pesach service at Rodo Shalom, which will include Yizkor for those who need to say the Yizkor prayer for their parents or their loved ones. And 2 weeks from tonight is mostly musical Shabbat at 7 o'clock here in this room. Thank you very much. And again, if you've got a place for Seder, let us know. And we hope that everybody has what we say a zisen, a sweet, kosher Seder. I've been to short Seders. That was, we were slaves, we're free, where's the soup? I've been to that one. I've been to long Seders. I have to tell you this, even though kids might not like to hear it, the long Seders are more fun. We play more games, and this is the first Seder that my 21-month-old granddaughter is going to sit at the Seder table and play with vegetables. So, well, anyway. So I hope that your Seders are great. If you need a place for Seder, let us know. Anything else? Page 586 in the brackets. It's 282 in the regular pages. Please, in the middle of the page, as you are able, please rise for Aleinu, our concluding set of prayers.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'tei kedula liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu k'goyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chalkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני
Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our loved ones, those who died at the season in years past, those of our people whose graves are unmarked, those who have died from every race and nation who have been a blessing to humanity. As we think about them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss. It's our custom here, as I read the name of Yartzites, if you are saying the Kaddish for the name of somebody whose Yartzeit it is, this week we'll ask you to rise so we can recognize you as a mourner. After that, we'll say the name of those who have died more recently. And when all the mourners have risen, we will stand, all of us, with our mourners, so that no mourner ever feels she or he needs to stand alone. This week, we remember the names of Shirley Alexander, Sidney Baker, and Shirley Baskin, Anita K. Berkey, and Rebecca Kletsky-Batensky, Helen Blair, Esther Blitz, Charles Bud Bronston, and Mabel Kalig, Faye Chapman, Benjamin Danovitz, Herta Farrer, Abraham Frankel, and Ray Argevsky, Ida Gelman and Ruth Gilbert, Lori Goldstein-Haas, and Yael Gorban, Ellen W. Grinberg and Celia Grossman, Golda Jenny Kalk and Lenore G. Katz, Barney Kotler, Stella Kupiek, and Helen Schaefer-Latterman, Bernard Sonny Levine, Rose Lipsitz, and Maxine Marcus, Louis Meyer, Israel Myers, and Benjamin Michelevich, Samuel Don Mole and Katie Nyman, Bernice Oringer and Daniel Perlstein, Ida Lippman Porter and Lena Pratt, Sheila Wells Rathke and Betty Resnick, Alan Rosen, Edward Samovitz and Janice Schachter, Byron Bernard Schiller and Frieda E. Pratt Schneider, Robert E. Smolowitz, Catherine S. Stein and Harry R. Stein, Sam Stein, Carol S. Weil and Faye B. Weinberger, Esther Weisberg, Shirley W. Weiss, Bernard Weiner, Marion Witt, and Myrna Wolk. And now remember those whose recent deaths we still remember. Sylvia Sachs, Lil Schoenfeld, Willa Dominski, Leona Lieberman-Levin, Steve Shatton, Frank Brother Knapp, and Corinne Krause. I'll ask the rest of our congregation as you are able to rise with our mourners and respond as they say their Kaddish on 294. It's 598 in the brackets. Yit Gadal, Yit Kadash, Shemir Rabban.
Amen.
V'yamad Yivrach Yeruteh, V'yamlich Malchuteh. B'chayechon of Yomechon, V'chaye Dechol Beit Yisrael. V'agalav Yizman Kari V'yamru.
Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mavarach Leolam Le'amel Maya.
Yiparach V'yishtabach V'yipa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh. Yitadar V'yitalev V'yitalal Shemei Dekudsha.
Brichu.
Ve'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiram bi'alma v'yamru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yamru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yamru.
Amen.
Amen. May the source of peace in the high heavens cause peace to descend on all of us, all Israel, upon a shattered world that we beg for God to repair through our own hands. Upon all of us who mourn our beloved dead, as together we all say,
Amen.
Amen. Please remain standing. Our final song is on page 321. It's 625 in the brackets. There's a funny thing that happens in Israel. Liturgical songs make it out of the synagogue and get played on the radio. This one got to number 5 in the hit parade, a version of Adon Olam. Adon Olam, Hashem Allah, B'terem kol Yitzir Nivra, Le'et Nasa, B'chefz HaKol, Azay Melech Shemo Nikra. Second verse. V'yacharei Kichlot HaKol, Levado Chi, Yimloch Norah, Adon Olam Hashem Alach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Le'et Nasa B'chefz HaKol Azay Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Kichlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Norah V'hu Haya V'hu Hoveh V'hu Yeh B'tifara Adon Olam Hashem Alach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Le'et Nasa B'chefz HaKol Azay Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Kichlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Norah V'hu Haya V'hu Hoveh B'tifara V'hu Haya V'hu Hoveh B'tifara. Bruchim atem b'voachem, bruchim atem b'tzeitchem, me'etav ad olam. May you be blessed every place you go into God's world, especially this wonderful week leading up to Pesach. May you be blessed every place you come into the homes of those you love and new friends in our communities. Together we say,
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei minei mizonot. Praise you, Adonai, God, ruler of all, who makes animal crackers and cookies.